I want to talk today about systems. Now, this will be one of the most important videos we make. I know it may not be one of the most popular ones. I don't think a lot of people realize how important it is. That's unfortunate because systems have so much to do with everything that happens in your life and can make your life so much better. My name is Maurice Kempner. I'm an attorney, real estate broker, business consultant, and coach. Welcome to True Legacy Wealth Media. One of the first things that I would say about a system is systems help you organize and automate things. This helps you with a lot of issues that have to do with discipline. If things are automated, they just kind of become a habit, and you don't have to be so disciplined to do things. So, for example, if you're trying to save money, whether in your business or personal, and you have a system set up that when income comes in, it automatically takes a certain percentage of that and deposits in a separate account they're going to use for business expansion or investing in multi-generational wealth, stuff like that, then you don't have to sit there and do it yourself. It just automatically happens, and it takes the workload away. So that's an example of how a system can kind of become automatic and even form habits and things, and it's just better than trying to discipline yourself to sit there every day or every now and then when a paycheck comes in and move money around. Now, most failures out there, whether they be business or personal, they have to do with basically systems. So in a marriage, for example, it may be your communication system or your budgeting system or the system you're using to raise your kids that can cause conflict. And so if you work with your significant other and set up systems that you can talk about and work out these issues, it can really help you in your marriage. The same with businesses. Usually the reason why businesses fail or there's problems in a business is there's something wrong with the system that was set up. It's not generating profit the way it should because it's just not working for some reason. Child rearing, another thing. I think I briefly kind of mentioned that. Better systems will help you there. I mean, you set up systems with your kids. It's pretty amazing what you can do. I remember my kids arguing once about there was 2 computers and 3 kids, and they all wanted to spend time on them. And so there was a little bit of a conflict, and it was ongoing. And finally one day I just said to them, you guys sit down, figure out a system of how you're going to share the computers and how it's going to work. And then I don't want to hear about these problems anymore. And they did, and it cured it. And they made their system, and it worked. And everybody got time on there, and everybody respected the system because they all worked together to make it. So that's just another example there. Basically, what I've noticed is wealthy people that I deal with, they always have systems for all kinds of stuff. I know I do. I like systems. They just make life so much easier. And for the time it takes you to work on a system, you're just building something that's like a little machine that you can just use over and over and over again. It's already there. You just drive it. You just work it, and there you go. And the thing about it is, when you work on a system, so let's say you're going to work on some business project. So let's say you're going to do some legal document for somebody if you're an attorney or whatever, and or you're going to work on a car, whatever. You get paid for doing those things, right? You get paid for that. When you work on a system that makes you money, you do it this one time, you spend the time on it, and then it just works over and over and just generates money. Over and over. You don't have to keep doing something over and over. This is an example of working on your business instead of in your business, right? So the more time you spend on your business, getting things organized with systems and stuff, the more it's just going to help you. Now, one of the key things, and then I'm going to get into how to make a system. One of the key things you really need to do when you do a system is you need to base it on the business, right? So you map out your business. You organize your business, use an organizational chart, and you organize your business, and you put positions there that you want your business to have. So you design your business, in other words, to be what you think is going to be the most efficient way to run that business. Now, what a lot of people do instead of that is they have friends or family in their business, or they have employees already have in their business, and they design these systems around the talents and interests of the people that are already associated with the business. This isn't the most efficient way to do it. For one thing, if that person isn't in the business anymore after a while, you've got a system set up just for that person instead of the business. Always set it up for the business to make the business work in the most efficient way and what works out best for the business. And see, this is another reason why you want to have a system, because if you got Betty in there in the office and she's keeping track of the books and records and communications and everything else, and then all of a sudden she just doesn't come to work anymore, she quits, she finds a different job or whatever, everybody's in there, well, where did Betty put this, and how did she keep the books, and what does this mean that she wrote down here, see? But if you have systems for all that, and then you just tell Betty, hey, Betty, these are the systems, this is how you keep track of the money, this is how you do communications, this is how you keep track of client communications, and so on, and that's all documented, and then just make sure she's following it. If anything happens to her, you just put another person in there to drive that system. That's the difference between a people-driven business and a system-driven business, and it's a huge difference, and it makes life so much better for everybody affected. Now I'm going to show you this. I mind mapped out here, and there's a video on mind mapping if you want it. Watch it. There's a link below to that video. Now, mind mapping, you can use it to create systems. It's a great way to do it. I'm going to show you right here what I've been doing. So you can see right here how to do a system, how to make a system. Now this whole mind map that I just made here, this was a mind map that I used to make this video. So all the things that I was talking about up here, I put them down here, and I've already talked about those. So now I'm going to talk about how to make the system, see? And you can just do this in your own mind mapping if you want to. If you don't want to use mind mapping, you can write it down some other way. But really, mind mapping is a great way to build systems. So the first thing you need to do is take an inventory of your business, your marriage, your personal life, whatever it is that you're going to make these systems for, and you decide what systems you need. Where do you need some systems? And figure out what are the most important areas where you need a system first, right? Then you start to work on these systems. And when you come to a system to work on it, you have to have a person who's responsible for operating that system. So who's going to be responsible to make sure that system works? If you don't have a clear definition of that, then people are like, well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that, and so on. So you just to have that. Now the other thing is you need a purpose for that business. What's the result that system is designed to get? I mean, that's like really important, right? You have to spell it out and define it, right? Then you need to look at what are the resources needed, see? And you could put this all down on paper or put it in a mind map like this. Most of these mind mapping software, you can click in here and you can put notes in here, pictures, other things, or you can add more topics over here like this, list stuff out. So you could just tweak it all out here. And then, like I said, I would mind map it. I've showed you how to do that. I'm doing it right now. Now these benchmarks, there are certain things that need to be met as you're doing the system. Certain things like when should something be done? That's a benchmark. At what point in the system as the system is moving along? So a system, let's say if it's some kind of manufacturing thing or process of some kind. What needs to be done at each process and when does it have to be done? So those are all your benchmarks, right? And your timing. And then you have to have somebody look at this and figure out, well, what kind of quality control are we going to have here? And what's the quality goals that we have on this system, right? I mean, as these steps are done, you want to have a certain quality that is achieved. And you can make checklists for each step if you want to do that. These are all the checklists you have to go over at this stage in the system. You test it. You can test alternatives. If you're not quite sure if this is a good way or that's a good way, test them. Then you need to have ways to measure the results. You need to measure the results of that system. You need to figure out how you're going to measure it and quantify the results of the system. Now, That's basically, in a nutshell, how you make a system. Now, systems are never done, okay? So you modify them over time as you gain experience. Now, one of the most important things I'll tell you is people have a tendency when things go wrong, they want to immediately find somebody to blame. The way I look at things, unless somebody's just done something real deliberate, or they're just like, they just can't handle things in general, I just figure people are going to make mistakes, right? And or things are going to happen, and when they do, and you have a system, and something happens, and it fell through the cracks somehow. Look at it this way. Look at it as an opportunity to improve your system. It exposed something in your system that maybe you didn't know about before, and now you've got this great opportunity to fix your system and make it better. So it's not a bad thing. So that's basically a nutshell of how systems work and how you can use them. And I hope this really helps you. I know it can make a big difference in your personal life and your business if you just work at it and use it correctly. So, anyway, if you like this, I hope that you'll like and subscribe to our channel. It really help us if you do. And thanks for watching.